Welcome back. The schools are starting and Rowland Hall begins next week. Mick Gee, the head of school at Rowland Hall, is here today live in studio to update us on everything happening within that school district. Thanks so much, Mick, for being here today.
Thank you.
So tell me about the start of school.
It's coming. Next week, the students are back next Wednesday. All of our faculty and staff were in yesterday and, doing preparations, and now we're planning events and things like that. But, yep, we're looking forward to getting everybody back.
Someone isn't familiar with Rowland Hall. Tell me about your philosophy and the different ages you have, how large your school campus is.
Sure. So we're right in the city of Salt Lake. We have two campuses. One is right at 9 and 9. And that's our middle in our Lincoln campus. It's our middle and upper school students. And then up the hill about 1.25 miles, right by the U, across from the baseball stadium, next to the football training facility, is our McCarthy campus, which is our beginning school. That's 3, 4, and kindergarten, pre-K 3, 4, and kindergarten, and then our elementary through 5th grade. And so we're about just under 1,000 students all, and about 200 full-time staff.
And as you embark on this 2021-2022 school year,
yeah.
What is top of mind for you and for your school community?
Well, people send their kids to school for the best educational program they can get, but really, number one is always safety. And so, obviously, and that's in any year, not just the COVID years now that we're experiencing. So we have been getting ready for that. And obviously, we went into the summer thinking, in the fall, school's going to look quite different compared to what we did last year. But we're right back at it a little bit, being cautious as we open up and start the school year. So we'll be masking for everybody on campus, whether they're vaccinated or not, faculty, staff, and students, initially, just to be cautious to make sure we start off safely. And then we'll review as we did last year all the way through. And
you have a year where you've done this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're hoping that we wouldn't have another year, but you're right, it's becoming the COVID years. So do you feel a little more prepared heading into this school year?
Yeah, it feels good and bad. It feels good to have that year under your belt. There was no blueprint for that. There was no sort of like we've done this before last year. So we were, as everybody was who were in schools, trying to keep up with the research, taking the best medical and safety advice that we could, and then putting the protocols in place. And it resulted for us being open every single day last year. So we did not lose a day of school through COVID. There's always luck, but then there's always making your own luck, right? In terms of like following the advice that we were given by medical experts and local and national public health officials. And we got through last year with 0 transmissions on campus, low numbers in our school population, students and families. And so, that gives you a little confidence, right? That if you managed that last year when no one was vaccinated and you were making the protocols up on a weekly basis as you went along, that there's a little bit of confidence this year that you can open safely, even though the Delta variant is different and brings different challenges.
So you are essentially continuing the procedures that you put in place last year for COVID-19 to help prevent spread.
Yeah, I think mostly, right? So I think, again, following the science, we know this is an airborne disease. I think last year there was all kinds of, we were all out there, waiting for our Amazon Prime deliveries and spraying everything. And I think people have stopped doing that. The science around surfaces, we know we have to keep surfaces clean, and we have additional safety protocols for cleaning. But that last year was really heightened awareness, and so some of those protocols don't seem necessary. Looking at the science now, the science around distancing was never really clear. There's sort of 6 feet versus 3 feet versus any other measure. So we will distance where we can, but we're not going to cohort the way we did last year to keep. Last year our elementary kids were on campus every day, and our high school and middle school students started off a week in school and then a week online. And we split the number of students into two cohorts. We don't feel like we have to do that this year. Masking is everything, and so that's where we sort of focused our efforts.
And shifting gears to educational philosophy at Rowland Hall,
Yeah.
What are some of the greatest benefits of Rowland Hall?
Well, we're independent. I don't actually use the word private at school very often. We are funded independently. But independent means that we get to make our own decisions in terms of where we think students need to be in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. And so being able to teach anything and not being told what to teach sounds like a really cool idea until you think, gosh, what do kids really need? What do they need, not just for their futures today, but in 5 to 10 years time? Because you can't, and then you have to really focus on like, that's hard. It's easier to be told what to do. But if you're really thinking we're trying to plan ahead to build the skills and expertise and knowledge that kids need to be successful at college and beyond college, that's a big scope of things. So we love the independence and the freedom to think through what a kids really need and then to focus on that. You can't teach everything. And I think sometimes in education, it's kind of a race through the textbook. And the textbook just gets thicker every year because there's more knowledge. And so we try to focus on essential skills, but applying those skills in different situations, which a lot of schools don't do. A lot of schools do school, and they teach the things you need for the next level. But kids never have a chance to really to practice those skills and apply that knowledge. So that is, I think, a little twist we put on things and try and focus on that.
Would you describe the environment as a bit of a collaborative community where you have the teachers, the students, families, administrators all working together to teach what is best for each student, to find out what they need individually, which you're right is a huge challenge, but a great benefit?
That's exactly what it is. I mean, if you just take COVID last year, the fact that we were so successful is not because we're the smartest school in the world. It's because our parents bought in to everything. And so we try to partner with parents. We wouldn't last very long if we were on a different path of where parents wanted their kids to be. And that's why people actually come to the school, right? So they can collaborate, so they can think independently, so they can try new things. And I think our parents value that, and it's why we attract teachers to the school. They want to come and try some new things, and not necessarily have to follow a curriculum that is laid down, that doesn't really change quickly enough for kids.
And we are just about out of time, but you've seen great growth within your school community, more students than you have had before, which is excellent. If someone's interested, if a family thinks this might be the ideal fit for their student, what should they do? Well,
we've grown about 107 kids over last year. About 30% of our families are from Park City, from this area. That's been a big growth area, of course, for the state and for us too. But I think a misnomer is that, to go to an independent school, you have to be a certain kind of family with a certain kind of income. We want to have a diverse student body. And so a lot of people who maybe think like independent schools not for them should take a look at this. And we have an admissions department, like a college does. We do tours, conversations, people. One thing we try to do is dispel myths about independent school. Like it's this kind of family and these kind of kids. We have a very diverse population, very diverse families from all over the region here. And so come check us out through the admissions office and our website, which is rowlandhall.org, and see if it's right for you.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Mick, for joining us today. No, very busy back to school time. We appreciate you being here and spending time informing our viewers, and it's great to hear how well things are going at Rowland Hall.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, make sure to head to Rowland Hall online, get all the information about that independent school and everything that is happening within that collaborative community. Once again, thanks to Mick Gee, head of school from Rowland Hall, for being here today. We'll be back with more right after this.